Welcome to the Investors Playbook, your voice in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley luxury real estate. Whether you're a seasoned investor or new to the game, consider this your edge. And now, your host, Frank DiMaggio. It's time!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Investors Playbook. I know it's been a little while since we've had a podcast, and obviously for good reason. From the last time that we've spoken till today, I've acquired the agency here in Arizona. I've left my position as the managing partner of Compass. Couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. And one of the first moves that we made was acquiring another brokerage, Resident Real Estate, which my guests Cody and Clayton were the founders of that organization, and now are going to come over to the agency as partners. Cody and Clayton, thanks for joining me today.
Frank, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Frank.
So obviously a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, I just want to kind of give them a little bit of background about you both. I know that you guys are here in the Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, Phoenix markets, and you've been doing incredible things. But not a lot of the viewers aren't going to know about your background. So tell us a little bit about yourself. So Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about you first?
Sure. So I grew up here locally. I'm Canadian, but parents decided they had enough of the cold winters up in Canada. So I grew up in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. Undergrad at Colorado and Boulder, psychology and neuroscience, and I dove straight into real estate as soon as I got out. I immediately joined who was my mentor at the time, and working with them for a little while, I decided to start my own brokerage. So that was about 7 years ago and brought me to this position today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about a real estate agent when they decide to take that leap and the difficult challenge of starting your own brokerage, getting your own brokerage going, building the brand, building the trust of the clients that you've got something that that they want to be a part of. And you guys have did an incredible job of doing that. So a testament to you. So Clayton, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, just like Cody, obviously grew up here with him in Paradise Valley in Scottsdale. After college or after high school, I moved out to California for 6 years. Got my degree in ag business at Cal Poly. From there, I actually went back to our family farm up in Saskatchewan, where I managed our 17,000 acre grain farm for about 7 years. Also in the process, started a commercial trucking company, moving bulk fertilizer and other commodities, as well as a heavy haul division. I also started a food brand called Northerly. I grew oats on my farm, and long story short, would package them up and sold them to about 50 different grocery stores on the East and West Coast, most notably Erewhon out in California. That was a huge one for me. At that point in time in 2020, we got a great offer on our farm, and I packaged the trucking company, the food brand, and the farm all up together, sold it to another farmer, and dove headfirst into real estate down here with Cody, who at the time had just launched Resident Real Estate and just finished up his graduate degree at ASU with MRED. So just been busy hustling with Cody and real estate, building the brokerage, and now super excited to have joined on to the agency with you as partners, and can't wait to see where we take that.
Yeah, for how early you are in your careers, it looks like you've already exited one business, and you guys have already exited a business. It's pretty impressive for how early you are in your careers to already have built businesses, exited them, and now here we are.
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of our competitive edges, because we're not just realtors. We are business owners. We are entrepreneurs. We love startups and building brands and that sort of thing. And so it's not just about building a business. It's the kind of energy and mentality that we bring to transactions, to our clients, looking ahead for different investment and development opportunities, just having a different kind of mentality when we approach any kind of real estate deal here in town.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's kind of the first topic that I want to talk about, which is, when you're talking about being a real estate agent, you've got kind of two sides to the coin. You've got people who make fun of real estate agents and they say they're glorified Uber drivers. But really, if you're at the luxury level and if you're really at the highest level of this game, you understand that you're really running your own business as kind of a one-man show that's got to be able to negotiate and market and have incredible organizational skills and time management skills and all these different facets that normally if you had a company, you'd probably have 10 different people who are doing, all right, you're in charge of the marketing and you're my assistant, you're doing this. But as a real estate agent at the highest level, you got to kind of be able to do all of that. And I think having an entrepreneurial background and having to kind of bootstrap a company yourself is the ultimate training grounds for being a really high-end real estate agent.
Yeah, I think for me, it was definitely a risk starting my own brokerage, and most people don't do that. And I essentially threw myself into the flames and hope that it worked out. And, I'm pretty proud of what we did at the company, built a really cool brand. A lot of people appreciated the fact that we were a local brokerage, but also super excited to have the opportunity under your leadership and your guidance to be at the agency with you now. So it's a huge opportunity for us both.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think was important when I acquired the agency was the first couple moves I make, probably the first 5 moves I made is really going to set the tone of what this organization is going to be based on what the market sees and what other real estate agents see. And based on both of your backgrounds as entrepreneurs, your philanthropic side, even outside of work, just having that feeling of just being great at anything that you do, I felt like that was so integral to what I want to do here at the agency. And it was a culture setting moment for what the agency is going to be. And that was why it was so important to be one of my earliest acquisitions, to bring you guys on.
Yeah. And honestly, for us, it's exciting because, again, going back to the business ownership and that sort of thing, having experience of different deals that are very unique outside of just a transaction, being able to see opportunity when those stars line up perfectly. And, we sit here talking to ourselves like, hey, we have this opportunity in front of us to not just switch brokerages, but to, really operate at a higher level underneath your leadership. And, being able to have the confidence to take that leap of faith and jump on board because the opportunity is so great. It's, it comes with a lot of risk, but there's a lot of reward. And it's something that, we were totally open to.
Yeah, one of the things that sometimes I'll talk about in a listing appointment when I'm dealing with a client is like their house is almost like its own business, right? And what they're looking to do is they're saying, look, we've got this business, we want to sell it. Who's the best representative to sell our business? The reason I look at it as a business and not really just a transaction is if you were to sell a business, if you're to sell a brokerage or any other or a farm or anything that you're doing, you've got to have a brand, you've got to have marketing, you've got to have the ability to evaluate what the value of that business is at an expert level, and then to be able to move it and then close it. And in the process of all that, you're going to have the same due diligence and the same different obstacles in selling a business as you are in selling a house. They're going to look under the hood of your business and try to see your accounting numbers and see your employees and see what's going on, as much as an inspection looks under the hood of the house and sees what all the different factors are and issues with the houses. And I think having been able to build a business and exit it is a huge testament as to how further along you would be from the average real estate agent who's saying, I'm a transactional agent. I can put the deal together. I'm great at negotiating and all this kind of stuff. It's like, look, at the highest level, to really be able to do it correctly and to max those dollars out for your buyer or your seller, you've got to be able to have done kind of what you guys have done in the past. And I think that's a testament to your success.
Yeah, and I think honestly, one of the best tools it gave us was to be able to think quickly on your feet and pivot when necessary. And, there's many different ways that kind of manifest in a transaction. But one example that just quickly came to mind is, if you go into, these listings that we're going into and they're, multi-million-dollar properties, there's high expectations that you're going to perform at a very high level. And how do you differentiate yourself from other agents? Because they're interviewing more than one person. I have a luxury listing at the Phoenician Resort. It's a condo, and how do you sell the lifestyle there? So one need that I saw for my listing to help my clients differentiate and to sell the experience of living at a luxury hotel is I literally bought a golf cart for that listing. And what that's going to be able to do is when someone comes in on a showing or off the street in an open house, yeah, we get a tour of the luxury condo. We take them up to the roof to enjoy the beautiful views, but what is life actually like at the Phoenician Hotel? I can talk about it. I can show them a little one-pager sheet with all the different amenities at the Phoenician, or we can hop in a golf cart and I can drive them up to the hotel and take them for a drink because they're probably going to own a golf cart and I want them immersed in that lifestyle at the Phoenician. So that's one example of thinking quick on my feet for my client to help sell the lifestyle of their property.
One of the things that when, you're getting into business, new people who are inspiring you, I hope to inspire you guys. I hope you guys inspire me. One of the things that I've heard from you that I really liked was real estate agents are cheap. I love that. It's such a true statement. You get real estate agents, who, they get the listing and they're thinking to themselves, how do I sell the listing with putting out the least amount of effort and the least amount of money possible? And I think one of the ways that you guys differentiate yourself is how much you're willing to invest in your listings and how much you're willing to invest in the video, the pictures, the marketing, every aspect of it, as far as even buying a golf cart if necessary, to really be able to separate yourself from everybody else, but to give that listing, that business, the best opportunity to kind of sell for the highest amount of money. And it's just something that I've learned, and I've started to kind of approach in my business totally differently just from that one conversation. So
Yeah, we definitely saw a pretty big opening, just because even in the luxury market, if you look at the marketing, they'll walk in, give their listing presentation, say they market it, but what is actually the marketing being done? Taking the photos, putting it on the MLS, hoping for the best, is very reactive, just waiting for people to approach and reach out. But what me and Clay like to do is be more proactive and put it out there, and that's investing in ad spend, great photography, everything else. And it's just more than just waiting for people to reach out.
Yeah, honestly, it pains me when I hear realtors say, "Oh, it's a great business to be in because you don't have to spend any money." And it's just crazy, because especially when someone's going to pay you, 3% of a $1 million listing, even that's $30,000. And the question is all the time, how are you worth it, right? So you have to be able to answer that value question and know your value and your proposition. But at the end of the day, when it comes to providing value, a lot of agents, they think they don't have to put any money into marketing or anything like that, because like Cody said, once it's on the MLS, the leads flow into you. And it's the exact opposite. You have to treat this like a business. And I want you to name me one successful business, whether it's a IV company or a peptide company or a natural med doctor or a gym, it doesn't matter. If you tell me any of those businesses have been successful without reinvesting in themselves in terms of dollars into marketing or R&D or something, it just doesn't happen. So agents need to treat their own business, their own brand as an agent, as something they need to reinvest into. And it could be in the form of mailers or logos or a better website or anything like that. And it's so crazy to see agents not take advantage of that.
yeah, I mean, the name of the podcast obviously is the Investors Playbook, and we talk a lot about the investment side. We talk a lot about buying land and building houses and flipping houses, and how that mindset really gives you an advantage when you're helping a client buy or sell a piece of property. One of the things that you guys are haven't alluded to yet, because you're being so humble, is the tremendous investments that you're making into some of the clients that are not here in Arizona. And I think it's important to kind of talk about how you've got this private aviation aspect of your business where you're willing to kind of fly to an individual who's in another state and bring them here to show them houses. I mean, talk about investment. I mean, that is the ultimate investment in your business, and I think really a separator from what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. So I've been a pilot for over 15 years, couple thousand hours of flight time. I've owned several aircraft throughout my life. Right now, my favorite plane to fly that I'm certified to fly is the Pilatus PC-12 NGX. It's a Swiss aircraft, beautiful aircraft. But yeah, so like one of the things that Cody and I chatted about is, you have these inbound referrals coming in, or you would like to have inbound referrals, or you meet a client from someone out in California, or a Google lead, doesn't matter what it is. If they're going to be spending, $5, $10, $15 million for you, how are you going to provide a luxury service? So one of the things that we offer is private aircraft transportation for those clients as a courtesy. I just feel like it's a no-brainer. If you're going to, buy a $10 million home and you get a $300,000 commission check, how do you elevate the experience? And we do that with the Pilatus PC-12. Literally go out, fly out there, pick up the client. If it's a referral and the referring agent out in California, for example, wants to come along, bring them, seats 8 people. We fly back to Scottsdale, go tour homes in Paradise Valley, see 4 or 5 homes, and I fly them back and have them home same day. And it's an incredible experience, not just for me, because it's a passion of mine, obviously, but for the person and the who's buying the home, the convenience factor for them is incredible. And then for the referring agent, it's a very impactful and memorable experience. And it's honestly, selfishly speaking, it's a great way to secure that referral for life.
Yeah. And I think, on the flip side, I think a lot of the people that view the podcast are entrepreneurs, they're business owners, they've built businesses before and they know how difficult that process is. And I think you're kind of downplaying how difficult it is to not, we're looking at starting a brokerage, but really at the end of the day, you started a business. And from starting that business to be able to build it out and become a success is extremely difficult. The amount of businesses that fail is a huge percentage. But you did a lot of it on hard work, but technology. Like we know that when we go to our meetings, I'm always looking to, especially Cody, and being like, hey, show me this new latest and great. Every meeting, it seems like the new latest and greatest something I'm learning about. And I think that's a huge separator as well. And I think the way that the market is going right now is you need to add an extra level of service to whatever it is you're doing. For me, I'm bringing the construction side. For you, you're bringing the private aviation side. But I think the other thing is definitely to be an absolute expert on the technology side. And I think that's kind of one big differentiating factor for what you do.
Yeah. So one of the core things when I started resident real estate was focusing on being digital forward, because I really do think that digital marketing is the future of real estate, but also leaning on what has worked very well in the past, and that's the print component too. So not only do we have a great digital presence, but the print component is massive, and we invest quite a bit into print marketing as well. But obviously AI is a big buzzword, and it's still pretty early on, but we're having clients reach out asking about how we're going to market with AI in mind. So we have different strategies to make sure that that base is covered as well, and then using AI to leverage and promote the listing better too.
Yeah, technology is going to have a huge impact on our business. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, I think it's a people-to-people business. It's going to be, who you are as a person, what you bring to the table as really an entrepreneur, because really all of us are entrepreneurs. We're really running our own business. And I think those are going to be the differentiating factors. Yes, your understanding of the technology side is going to be huge. The technology is going to be kind of available for all of us. Whoever uses it the best, I think will have a huge advantage. But I think that people to people is always going to be there in our business.
Yeah, it's definitely a force amplifier. It's not a replacement of the person. And earlier when you said how real estate agents get this bad rap of being kind of just a door opener, an Uber driver, it's really funny because some of my best clients are the ones that it feels like more of a personal relationship, that it's not just a business relationship, because a lot of times, fortunately and unfortunately, you in the middle of a transaction, it might be at a very hard point in their life, and they're sharing private things with you that even their closest friends don't know, because you're right at maybe a death in the family or a divorce. And it's really important to keep in mind that the person is still there and you're meeting them where they are. And they bring you the problem and you don't know what you're walking into, but your job is to fix it and make it as easy for them as possible.
Yeah. Now, how are you supposed to handle that situation if you're just using AI as an agent? Let's just say in the future, it doesn't work. I say routinely in listing appointments and buyer consultations, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whose presentation is better, how they're going to market the property, or especially don't just go with the agent who's going to say they're going to sell your home for the highest number, because at the end of the day, we're all salespeople trying to get your business. It's who do you want to have a business relationship with? And that's the most important component, because at the end of the day, things can start off smooth, but if things get nasty quick, whether it's personal things that you didn't foresee, or I've literally had a escrow flood 56 minutes into contract from the unit above and destroy the deal. And, it just was a, 5-alarm fire kind of situation. Who do you want in your corner who's going to counsel you appropriately and have that level of comfortability knowing that they can put their trust in you to close the deal?
Yeah. All those are great points. No doubt about it. I think technology is going to be important, but I always think people to people is going to be the key. And I don't think that'll ever be replaced. And I think there's probably a million other examples that we can give how that personal relationship with the client and that trust that you build with the client is going to be irreplaceable by technology. Like I said, I'm always looking for people to inspire me. I'm always looking for people to try to, get me outside of my comfort zone. I'm doing the restaurant and doing all these different things has always been these big leaps in my life. And then when I do it, I'm like, wow, I'm so happy I did that. And one of the things that I've kind of learned from you guys is I'm running 1,000,000 miles an hour, and, I've kind of haven't been as good at giving back as I should be. I guess I've always thought, hey, later in life, I'll get to a more comfortable point where I can say, hey, I got more time and I'll start to give back. But I think you guys have shown me that you can be crazy busy and also give back. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about how you guys have had this incredible event over the past couple years and how we're kind of folding it into the agency and we're going to be rolling it out, and how you guys are really the integral piece of that, how excited we are and how we really hope to be able to raise a lot of money for a great cause.
Yeah, so a little bit about my philanthropic background. So when I was farming, when I had that food brand, every time I sold a package of oatmeal, I would donate 1 serving of food to St. Mary's Food Bank. Then when I started climbing the 7 summits, the tallest mountain on each continent, I dedicated 1 serving of oatmeal for every foot of elevation I climbed. So at the time when I was farming, I climbed 3 mountains. I was able to donate about 62,000 servings of oatmeal, is about 11,000 pounds of food to St. Mary's Food Bank. And I bring that up because when I sold the farm and was moving down to Scottsdale, I wanted to not give up, that giving back, that community involvement. And I thought to myself, well, how do I do this? Long story short, I got involved with an organization called the Scottsdale Saguaros. It's a group of 50 young professionals under the age of 40, and we raise about $2 million a year annually for 35 different local children's charities here in Arizona. I'm really proud to say I joined in 2021, and with a lot of support from Cody, together we've raised nearly $500,000 for that organization. And one of the ways that we did it that has been so impactful, talking about investing in yourself, investing in your clients, and that kind of thing, is we actually started throwing a charity gala called A Night in Monaco. This year is going to be the 3rd annual event. And Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about the background on it?
Yeah, so A Night in Monaco gala, we wanted to start this from the ground up. We had an opportunity to create a charity event, so we thought, why not host a gala? Like, it can't be that hard, right? It was very hard. And we're talking about wearing a lot of hats, and planning a gala in the midst was very challenging. But we had the opportunity of taking what we know about charity events and trying to re-engineer it to be better. And I think we did that. And every year it's getting better and better. And hopefully in 5 years, it'll just be the best event in Scottsdale. But essentially, A Night in Monaco gala, if you think Monaco, you think F1, you think Casino Royale, you think cars. And that's kind of the theme and the backdrop. And the texture of the event is the venue itself, which is Auto Car Club, which is nearly a $30 million building, has a members lounge overlooking the most exclusive cars in Scottsdale, which is saying something. So the event space is to the nines. It's gorgeous. All the guys are wearing tuxedos. All the gals are wearing ballroom gowns. And in Arizona, it's pretty casual here. So I know a lot of people appreciate being able to dress up a little bit and have an occasion to come to. But really cool event activations, really amazing cars on site, really great prizes. One of the things that I wanted to focus on was having really high-end prizes that you can go home with that night. A lot of charity events, you might put your tickets in a bucket and then they'll call you 2 weeks later, you won your thing. That's great. The biggest the biggest prize of our event, someone walked home with a $10,000 watch that night. So we got to announce that, and everyone's cheering for this person. People are going home with purses and fine leather goods. And I also wanted to think about the women in attendance as well, because a lot of times the memorabilia is just sports stuff or movie stuff, and it's not really geared to what they would be interested in. So we had a luxury handbag boutique in. So ladies are trying on the Birkins, the Chloes, those great bags, and it's all to support a great cause for the Saguaro. So
yeah, I just want to add one more thing on what Cody was talking about with the luxury prizes. Super fun night, and the watch that someone walked away with, it was from the F1 race simulator we had. It was basically pay to play, and if you set the fastest lap time of the night, you walked away with a $10,000 Cartier watch. So shout out to PPS Coatings and Oliver Smith Jewelers for helping provide that experience for our guests. But one of my favorite moments of the night is when we announced last year's staycation winner. It was a $10,000 package. Basically, someone got to stay on the south side of Camelback Mountain with incredible views of the valley. Came with a private chef, a private masseuse, and an airplane ride with me during sunset. All of these things are donated from the event, so it's really powerful to see other people getting involved in our event like that. But what I'm really excited about this year is we're constantly looking to step up the event. How do we elevate things? And this year for the luxury giveaway prize, we have a prize coming up for a Vegas vacation. So basically, it's going to be a one-night stay in the Cosmopolitan, dinner and a show, and it's going to have private aircraft transportation in the Pilatus PC-12 NGX that I fly, and it's just going to be a really cool experience for someone to win.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that was really impactful for me with the Saguaros was, obviously any charity is good, but what I loved about the Saguaros is when you donate and support the Saguaros, like we have the past couple of years, you know that the money is staying here in Arizona and is directly benefiting children's charities. So we've had a couple speakers at the event explaining where their dollars are going so that people can see actual benefactors on the stage of, getting a non-elective surgery done with help from the donations raised from our event. So it's really great stuff.
Yeah, it's a spectacular event. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to go to the event last year, and that was one of my introductions to you guys. And from having been to a lot of charity events and a lot of really well-funded charity events, I could say I was incredibly impressed by it. And it was that something that we're going to constantly talk about. It really set the tone of, hey, who are these guys? What are these guys doing? I want to learn more about them. And the more I got to learn, the more I realized you're going to help us set the tone of the culture that we want to create at the agency and the type of representatives that we want for our clients so that we can service them and get them top dollar. Cody and Clayton, thanks for joining me at the Investors Playbook. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday. You can follow us on all the major streaming networks, and we'll see you then.